A court in the Netherlands is expected to pass judgment in the first European trial of Somali pirates. 5 men are accused of hijacking a Dutch Antilles-flagged cargo ship in the Gulf of Aden last year. If convicted, they face prison terms, but once freed, they'll be able to apply to stay, which seems a better option than returning to Somalia. Take a look at this. Well, under the Dutch law, each prisoner gets his own cell, many of which are equipped with cable outlets for color television, a toilet, shower, and most have a window. Prisoners enjoy a relative amount of freedom and privacy, with guards often monitoring their movement through an electronic tracking system. We'll compare this with the extremely overcrowded and poorly managed prisons in Somalia. Inmates live in dangerous health conditions. They're often abused by guards, and reports exist of rival rebel groups using torture against each other and civilians. Dr. Afyare Elmi is a professor of international politics here at Qatar University. He is also the author of the book Understanding the Somalia Conflagration. Thank you very much for joining us, Dr. Elmi. What do you think of these men in the Rotterdam court? Is that the right place for them to stand trial?
Well, actually, that would be one of the better places to stand trial, because if they would have been other places like perhaps Somalia, that they will not get the services that you have just mentioned. Plus, by the way, people who are not in prison do not get such perhaps services in Somalia, let alone pirates. Remember, the condition of the country is really bad, that almost like 3 million people are on the verge of starvation. So literally we're facing a humanitarian catastrophe there. So prisons, of course, will be far worse than that. Okay,
so away from the sort of standard of living questions and the fact that it could be quite comfortable in a Dutch prison and maybe even more comfortable than being free in Somalia, away from that, from a legal point of view, is it in a way laughable that they're being tried under this fairly sophisticated Dutch legal system, just like Abdul Qadir Musa was under the US Supreme Court, when you're being charged with committing a crime in a lawless place, and then you have to stand trial in a fairly sophisticated legal system in another country? Is that fair?
Well, actually, what we're dealing with is international crime. Piracy is an international crime, and the definition of this crime basically is that it occurs on the high seas. When it occurs outside the high seas, then it's just basically a free fall. And here what we have is that Security Council has passed a resolution that allowed international states to pursue pirates. So this is far more complicated than we see at this stage. But what's important here is that trial for few pirates in Holland will not address the root cause of piracy in Somalia. And basically that's what we should be focusing on, the political aspect of it. The lack of authority in Somalia, that is the source of piracy in Somalia, and that's where nothing is basically, or perhaps a little, is being done.
So, I mean, is it a good thing in a way for these piracy issues to grab the attention of the world media, the fact that we're talking about it here, because it leads us to question the bigger issue of not how to solve piracy, but how to stabilize Somalia, which is the root cause of piracy?
Well, yes, you're right that it raises the profile of the issue of Somalia, perhaps the only failed state in the whole world, and that itself is not a bad thing. But the fact is that this has been going on for a while and nothing has been done. So even if the profile is raised, then what is it being done? That's the more important question. And so far, the international community seems to be adopting short-term policy, decisions which will not address the real cause of piracy. That is ending the statelessness in Somalia.
Okay, Dr. Afyare Elmi, thank you very much. Nice to hear your thoughts.
Thank you very much.
It's day 7 of the World Cup, and France take on Mexico in the late game. Greece play Nigeria, and